My name's Czapp. I'm co-founder of the Wow Company, an accountancy practice that works with small businesses. That's those with a turnover of between 0 and 5 million. One of the things that's always fascinated me is the difference between those that just tick along and those that make it big. You know, the ones that you read about in the papers that win awards for their growth, that sell out for millions. And it's been a great fascination to work out what makes these guys tick. And I've been very fortunate in the work that I do that I get to see their accounts, I get to hang out with them, I get to find out what it is that makes the biggest difference when it comes to growing quickly. So if you're looking to grow quicker, I think the first thing you need to do is to change your thinking. Because if you're currently ticking along at 5%, 10%, 20%, whatever rate it is, that's fine. But unless you change your thinking, you're going to get the same results. And the best way to change your thinking is to ask yourself great questions. So for example, if you had to achieve your 5-year plans in 1 year, that shortcut it from 5 years to just 1 year, what would you do? You know, if your life depended upon making that shortcut, what would you do? Start planning, start writing down ideas, start getting teams together to share those ideas. And then some other great questions that you can ask too. How about asking yourself this one? If money was no object, what would I do to grow my business? Or the opposite of that, and say to yourself, well, if I had no money, if literally all my budgets were cut to zero, what would I do? And what you're trying to do is just change your thinking, just set alight a spark that will bring about some creativity, a new way of thinking, a new way of solving a challenge. And I promise you, if you do this and do it regularly, good things will happen. The final question to ask yourself, and it's one you need to ask yourself every single day, is this. What's going to make the biggest difference to you achieving your growth plans? What's going to make the biggest difference today? What's going to make the biggest difference next week, next month, for the year? And if you can keep that focus and keep doing the stuff that really, really matters, I promise you, good things will happen.
I'm Paul Halliwell. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of 20CI. We're a data science and technology business that works on marketing in the moment to help businesses take advantage of life stage triggers to better improve their marketing. So I've done a couple of quite large growth businesses. I was at Carrier One, which was the largest .com area float in Europe. We floated on the NASDAQ for over $3 billion. And I was the founding MD of TalkTalk. I wrote the original business plan and stayed there through until we were turning over about £750 million. I think the most important thing for business owners who are really looking to grow is all about focus. It's very easy to say, but a lot of people find themselves worrying about things that are not really the core things that are going to make the business bigger. I think there are two reasons why you should focus. The first one is related to the fact that there just aren't that many hours in the day. If you end up being the man who takes the bins out or worries about the bookkeeping, then you're not going to be keeping your hands on the levers of the things that going to make your business more valuable. And the second reason is to do with the fact that having a complex business is much more difficult to manage and just much slower. I know a lot of people will be familiar with the idea of technical debt. As you build a system, then as it becomes more complex and older, it becomes harder to maintain. The same is true of an organization. If you start to build and you find yourself with lots of products, lots of little teams, cutting some of that away, keeping a real focus on what adds the value really helps.
So I'm Alex Farrell. My background is in digital. So I previously built and grew and actually ultimately sold a tech career site called the IT Job Board, which is now called DICE, which is a job platform. I've been non-exec in a number of companies that are data-driven or digital focused. My new business is called GiftWink, which is a gifting platform where we match motivated gift buyers to gift retailers. So my advice would be to SMEs starting to grow their businesses from a digital perspective would be to be really fanatical about the data, how you collect it and how you categorise it, and then how you programmatically use it. because ultimately online your data is everything and you've only got a few shots to communicate with your customers. So having a real fanaticism around what data you collect, how you, and how you use it in a way that completely optimises your sales, I would say is the one piece of advice I'd give to businesses. So in my last business, we had a lot of email addresses in our customer base, but not a lot else, not enough data to really engage with those customers and convert them into a transaction. So one of the best things we did in our tech careers platform business was to build a preference center for our email newsletter subscribers. And what the purpose was to gather better data on them, because we knew that if you had a highly preferenced user in terms of the data you had on them on their email newsletter, they were likely to convert at 3 or 4 times what they would if it was just a generic newsletter with Dear John at the top of it. So personalisation meaning data categories tagged against that user rather than just their name and a bit of extra information around them. So how we built that preference centre was we had generic newsletters with key categories that we'd mapped out from a top-level taxonomy, that when a user got that email, then they clicked on one of those categories, it would preference them, and then the next newsletter they got would be a different set of categories, which they would click on and preference them. So what we ended up with is 3 or 4 layers of data on a newsletter subscriber that meant they were highly converting by the end of the time we'd collect all of that data on them, far more so than if it was just a generic newsletter.
So my name's Matt Martin, and I run a company called Retro Mountain. Basically, the idea is modern ski wear for the retro soul. So we've taken inspiration from the 80s and 90s ski scene, and we've redesigned and upgraded all the fabrics from that period. The best thing that helped us grow really was just being creative, trying to think about ways to interact with our customer on more than just a social media level. So we've done things, little PR stunts, I guess. Our head of marketing is this guy called Fist Bump Freddy, who's actually a mannequin. And we drove with him through London through our sunroof, dressed in our ski wear, and our car had obviously the logo on the side. And the amount of attention that we got from that was really interesting, actually. We had people stopping us at traffic lights, taking pictures of the car, pictures of Fist Bump Freddy. And that, we saw a real increase in our web traffic, in our social media engagement. So that was I guess, the first thing that we did. And then on top of that, we did pop-ups. We chose a few, choice locations around London to have a retail space, but on a temporary, non-permanent basis. And that worked really well for us. It means that we managed to limit our costs. And we also could test different areas so that we could find the most successful kind of area for us. I guess to summarize our approach to growth and to growing a business is be creative. Do something that's outside of the box. We had no idea whether putting a mannequin through the sunroof of our car was going to work, but it did. And it didn't cost us anything to try it. So I guess always be wary of how much things are going to cost, but try everything. Try everything once. There's no harm in that.
So I'm Byron. I'm the founder and CEO of the Blogger Program. The Blogger Program is a platform which connects brands and social influencers. We currently have around 30,000 registered on platform, bloggers, and we're growing at about 1,000 a month. And we also have around 2,000 brands, registered on the platform as well. The concept and the idea of the platform is to allow brands to come in and search and communicate to influencers and bloggers directly and create campaigns and adverts on the platform, allowing bloggers to interact with those. The advice that I would give to business owners is, when I look back at our journey, we started out with a platform, a concept, but we had no database, no users. So we thought about, how do we get people to come and register and join our network without any budget, without any experience? So what we did is we looked at who do we want to get in front of. We wanted to get in front of other bloggers and brands as well. So what we did is we took on a couple of influencers themselves. They come up with a concept to approach other influencers on YouTube. We approached some brands, offered them some free exposure, and we put these beautiful hampers together for influencers. Now, we sent these out to 10 YouTubers who had 100,000 followers plus. Now, when we packaged this up and sent it out, we put a beautiful note in the package. So when the YouTubers opened up the boxes, the first thing they did was talk about us and our platform. So we had exposure immediately to over 1 million subscribers of influencers talking about our platform and how great it was, and the brands involved, which they unboxed and talked about. So that immediately put us on the map, and from the back of that, we generated thousands and thousands of registrations. And now we rolled that out every couple of months to different influencers. So to summarise our experiences, we had literally a limited budget. We had to think outside the box, use the resources we had to try and create kind of creative marketing campaigns to get into the communities and the kind of networks we wanted to reach.